Well, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, as the case may be. Our little show, the Bill Crane Report, is back on the air. Well-known traveler Dwayne Weiss, my compadre, is returned from a visit to the Midwest. The Midwest will never be the same.
That's right.
And
never saw so damn many deer in my life.
Yeah.
God, it was so risky driving from 6 o'clock in the evening on. Every time you're around a corner, you had to be ready because there's going to be 2, 3 of them standing in the road.
The southwestern suburbs of Philadelphia, Villanova, in that area, have strict no hunting laws.
Yep.
It's more urban than it is suburban. So I have never seen as many deer in my life.
Yep.
We have these beautiful big homes with these big lawns, manicured, and deer grazing on all the front yards.
Same thing here.
Yeah, it was amazing.
We went to a Stout where she graduated from the University of Wisconsin at Stout. On Monday they had a group of her people, her co-ed, her other students that they kept together all these years. And we're at somebody's house, and somebody said, "Oh, look out there!" And there was 4 or 5 deer in the yard, just like they were goats or something, walking around, looking around. No fear of anything.
Family, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
my God!
So you got to see a whole bunch of people you hadn't seen for 1,000 years.
Yep, a lot of them.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the Colorado people for a long time. Oh my God, that'd be 40 years.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that must have been, and Monica enjoyed it?
Yep. We ate too much. We drank too much.
Well,
with that group, they party.
You don't have much choice.
No.
At least that's what you tell yourself.
Yeah, and I had an interesting car from Hertz. They have gone in the way of National and the others. You get your car, you have a group of cars, whatever group you paid for, and they said, well, just take whatever you want.
Yeah.
And you can go up and down the aisle and say, I like that. Well, Hertz, mostly their intermediates, I have went to Malibus, Chevy Malibus. But right there in the end, just delivered, was a brand new looking Nissan Maxima, the top of the line. It's still wet from the washing. I said, oh hell, I know what I'm going to take.
Sure.
It won't be that Malibu.
Yeah.
Nice car, but extremely technical, I guess is the word I want to.
Oh, there's all kinds of gadgetry.
Everything electronic. No more, very few buttons. You got to bring this up and these screens and this screen, and then I had to sit there about a half an hour just to see, where's this, where's that, and then I couldn't figure out. I said, when I got to fill gas, I can't find out how to open the gas thing. But we eventually figured out. There was no manual in the car either.
On the floor to the left.
No, it was a button.
Well, they moved it.
Yeah.
Because I rented a Maxima.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I could not find how you released the gas cap. And it was on the floor underneath my left thigh.
Of course, there was one of them fob cars too. They don't have a key. They just...
Oh.
And I'm always pulling out that fob, getting in the car, going like that. It's such a habit.
Well, now, those fob cars, as long as you got it in your pocket, you're all set.
You're all set.
You don't have to do anything.
But just don't forget it and walk out.
Yeah.
But you can't lock it in that way anymore. It won't lock.
It outsmarts you.
It locks and then unlocks automatically.
Yeah.
Because enough people apparently locked themselves out doing that. But all in all, it was a very smooth, very nice riding car.
Yeah. Now V6 is still a V6, and it's still peppy.
It's very peppy.
Yeah.
But when I took it back, the girl said, checking me, and she said, "Any issues with the car?" I said, "Just one. I didn't want to bring it back. I wanted to keep it." She just laughed. She said,
Well, you know what your next car's going to be then.
No,
No.
no, no. They've priced themselves out of the market.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a good trip.
Good. Good.
Planes were on time. In fact, they were early. We were about 20 minutes early coming back, and 10 or 15 minutes early landing.
Tailwind, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
So I said to Mike, I said, we're not cut out for travel anymore.
No,
It's too exhausting.
Dwayne, I spent 25 years, the last 25 years I worked in planes.
Mm-hmm.
I have never stepped foot in one since I retired in 2005.
Bill, it's like a cattle call now. They're packed. There are people waiting on standby. They got the seats there. Well, probably when you were there, they were about this long, about that wide, and about this long. And you just fear that fool in front of you is going to try to put his seat back, because it won't fit anymore. I mean, it's right here in your face.
Oh. They don't care though. The airlines.
No, the airlines don't care. But
You're just a dollar bill to them.
the crew were very nice. We both of them. Well, in fact, we had the same crew both ways. They were very, very accommodating.
Well, that's good.
I'm sure they get a lot of crap about stuff, and it's not their fault. It's not
That's the biggest cause of burnout with the cabin personnel.
I'll bet it is.
The crap they have to take from people.
Watched a couple of movies, and that was it.
So you had a good time.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, welcome back to the
what
real
happened?
world
What-
now.
Did you take care of this place while we were gone?
Did I what, please?
Take care of it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So, what happened that was good or bad? Oh, we made the news out there too.
Really?
The MBTA. Only they called it the Massachusetts Boston Transit Authority.
Oh, good.
They could not believe that we would spend $2.something billion building a couple miles of extension and then make the tracks too narrow. They said, who does that? It's so basic. How do you make the tracks for $2 billion too narrow?
Oh, it's very easy. You don't hire railroad people. You hire politicians.
Patronage.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. In fact, they said that the MBTA was a patronage-ridden organization.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know what? While you've been gone, nothing good has happened.
How about bad?
I'm sorry?
How about bad?
Oh, we have plenty of bad.
Okay.
But first, I want to start off with a story.
Good.
So, I shall move my stuff over there. Some time ago, I went to a neighbor's house, and we had, I brought a couple of pizzas. They were new to the neighborhood.
Yep. That was nice. Okay.
And we had a nice visit. And I saw the lady, oh gosh, I don't know, a couple, 3 weeks afterwards. And I said, so how's everything going? And she said, well, we're almost back to normal since your visit. I said, pray tell, what does that
happened?
mean? She said, well, I got to give you a little more background. She's a psychic.
A real psychic.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this is the first time in my life that I have really been with someone who I know as a psychic.
I have never. I've always thought that would be interesting to talk
Yeah.
to.
She moved into one of the Sullivan family's family homes.
Okay.
Well, the way this all started, she sought me out and asked a bunch of questions about my relatives. She was getting visits from my aunts and uncles. that had lived
Deceased-
in the house.
deceased
Oh yeah,
Angela?
long
Okay,
deceased.
okay.
Yeah. She asked.
Oh, that's right. This was the home was where your relatives lived at one
Yes.
point. Okay.
So she said, I have one of your relatives, I guess. I have someone who is with me a lot. He's small. He's described basically a hunchback. And he kind of shuffles when he walks, and he wears a Irish,
Tam, or what do they call it?
a scallop cap. And he's hard to understand. And she said, do you have a relative called Zach? I said, no, that's Uncle Jack.
Oh, yeah, because
Oh. And I said, and I got up and I imitated how Jack walked.
okay.
And she said, that's him. He is my protector. Now,
He is your protector.
she said, he is my protector.
Oh, okay.
And she said, now my husband wouldn't harm me. He wouldn't kill a fly.
Yeah.
But yet, he has a couple of beers and he gets loud. And Jack comes and sits beside me. If you go back to my great-grandfather, he was a tyrant.
Okay.
And Uncle Jack used to try to protect his wife, my great-grandmother,
Okay.
Mary. And Uncle Jack was that kind of guy. This all just melds in.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. She described 2 more people. And I said, yep, I can tell you who that is. That's my Aunt Gertie. And I said, and the fellow with the beard is my great-grandfather, Dan Sullivan. She said, he can be very mean. I said, yes, he could. Well, it went like that for quite a while. And she told me other things, and I was able to explain to her what they were and why they were happening.
Yeah.
But she had no idea in the world, none, what the questions, the answers would be. I'm not describing this very well at all. She asked questions.
Yep.
She had to have knowledge of the situation
Right.
to ask me the questions, and there's no one left living
Yep. To
that
clue her
could
in.
have talked to her.
Exactly.
She just was brand new moving into the house. So it's not as though there were neighbors or anything like that could fill her in on the background. I'm the oldest in the Sullivan branch left. Oh, wait a minute. My cousin Jimmy is alive still, but we're the 2 oldest, and Jimmy never talked to them. So this was quite an evening. So
That's
she
amazing.
said, yeah. She said, we almost back to normal. I said, what's that mean? Well, after you left and went home, you and Sue, she said, all the fire alarms in the house went off. And all at the same time. And we couldn't shut them down. The spirits were mad.
What were they mad about?
Me talking about them.
Oh, really?
So I went home after that discussion, a very puzzled man. Dwayne, the other night, these 5 smoke alarm,
Yep.
CO2 alarms
yeah.
that I had in my house went off all at once.
Were they interconnected?
No,
Hardwired?
no.
No, see, that's a real coincidence. Now, mine would go off because if one goes off, they all go off. But that's a different story. But
Yeah, these aren't the same
I
brand.
see that. They're all different.
Yeah. You know, when one would fail, I'd go buy a new
Yeah.
one, you know? So the only way I was able to calm this down was to take them all down and unplug the batteries
Yep.
and then shut them up. But all of them going off at once. Oh, within a 5-minute
Right,
time
right,
frame. Yeah. And me chasing around the house trying to figure out which one was going off was interesting too.
Oh, I can imagine. They all sound like this. They all sound the same, you know, and they
Yeah.
kind of echo. Now, I'm surprised that they were mad because you were talking about them. Because what I read was that deceased people like being remembered. And somebody saying, well, I remember old Uncle Joe, and he did this, and he did that.
The couple or three that we talked about were not exactly the apple of one's eye.
Maybe you should lie a little bit when you talk about them.
Maybe, but it was an interesting night.
Yeah.
But then this happens.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I could be an emergency.
No. Area code 209, I don't know anybody.
Oh, sounds like a spammer.
Yeah.
So anyway, I took them all down, shut them all down, and went and bought 5 more, brought them home, fired them all up, and it's been silence in the house ever since.
Good.
Yeah. So,
I had to replace mine. One of them wouldn't shut up.
yeah. But look at Dwayne. 652022 with a 10-year warranty.
That one shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, they're all relatively new. These are brand 9/21/2021.
Way beyond, way too early to go off.
Yeah, I'm not sure I wrote on the back of all of them,
But the point is taken that they're,
but what the devil?
because when I had them replaced, he said, well, mine are 15 years old. He said,
Yeah.
well, these are way off over
Yeah.
there.
Well, they all come with 10-year
Your
warranties.
warranty.
Yeah.
Now the new ones come with a 10-year battery.
Yeah.
You can't change the battery.
You can't
on them.
change the battery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was. Now, one other thing. This is a combination smoke and CO2.
Yeah.
This is just smoke.
Yeah.
And I think this one is just this one, carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all went off.
All went off. Yeah.
Now, if they were all smoke alarms, by gosh, by golly, I could understand it. There had to be smoke someplace.
Yeah.
There was no smoke. CO2? I mean, there was nothing working in the house. No appliance.
But the fact that they all went off like
Yeah,
instantaneous, or
yeah,
one after another,
yeah,
is phenomenal. That's too much of a coincidence.
yeah. So, I don't know what the story was.
Now, does this psychic, does she do this as for write
She
columns
does.
or
She
appearances
does.
or anything?
She does. She has clients that she counsels, and it's a very interesting lady.
I think that we could do her a bit of good by a little
Having
bit of
her on the
exposure
show.
here.
I'll talk to her.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? That is a good idea.
Yeah, just tell us about what happens,
Yeah.
when she first noticed it, what does she hear, what does she see?
Yeah. So, well, without changing the show into a nonstop visit with the beyond here,
Well, no, but I think it'd be a nice.
let me just relate one other thing. They redid their driveway. In doing it, the contractor found a gravestone.
Oh,
Now,
boy.
this is right across the street from the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to the dawn of civilization, that was all a field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then there was a dirt road. So you just, it was the burying grounds. There wasn't anything sophisticated about it. Someone
No.
died, you brought him down to the burying grounds, you dug a hole, and, you know. So they found this of a 2-year-old girl. They cleaned it up, and they said, now, she said, Bill, do you know anything about this? I said, no, I don't. I can only conjure, just guess what happened. So she said, it's funny. She said, I don't know what to think of it. Since we found this, if I remember the story correctly, since we found this, we also found windows in our house open that we didn't open. So she said, and by the way, she said, one other thing, in the kitchen, when I'm in the kitchen, I feel something brushing my legs. And I said, like a 2-year-old girl might do. And she said, I never put that 2 and 2 together. I said, she wants to go home. I said, I would bring that stone across the street to the cemetery and just put it in some appropriate place in the old section. That was it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
No. Now, did I ever tell you a story about this friend of mine who had a camp up on Lake George up in the Adirondacks?
No.
This guy I worked with, and we had a job out in was one of the major cities up north in New York State, and I hand carried out some valves for him when I was with Foxborough because time was of the essence.
Okay, sure.
And I wanted to put a positive spin on the whole thing. That look, here's Mr. Foxborough bringing the stuff at the appointed time, you know. And so anyway, this guy and I had a few beers afterwards, after we did that and after lunch. And he said, I got to go up to the camp. He said, our place up on Lake George. He said, I'm not looking forward to it. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, I got the heebie-jeebies here. I got to have a talk with my next door neighbor. I said, pray tell, about what? And he said, well, I was out. This last weekend was the first weekend after the winter. I was out and I was cutting the grass up there. And I looked up in the back window, and here was the guy that lived next door, he and his wife that lived next door, and they were doing the same thing we were. They were opening the camp up, and he was upstairs looking down on me, and he waved to me, and I waved to him. So I finished cutting the grass, and anyway, we went back in the house, and the wife said, hey, the next door neighbors have invited us over for supper. He says, oh, okay, great. He said, I saw Ralph. I waved to him in the back window. And she said, oh, well, Cindy came over to invite us over for dinner, and she told me that Ralph had passed away during Christmas.
Uh-oh.
And he said, Bill, God is my judge. I didn't hallucinate. I hadn't been drinking.
Oh, I know.
And he was wearing the blue sweater that he was famous for.
Yep. There are certain things you just cannot explain.
So I said, so what's this unenviable task? He said, I'm going to have to go up and tell her what I saw. He said, I didn't say anything at supper time. But I'm going to have to explain to her that he's there with her. I said, well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think she'll say, that's wonderful, he's watching over me, or something. He says, yeah, I hope it just doesn't send her into hysterics, though. How do you explain stuff like that?
You can't.
No, you can't. How do you explain what's going on down in Washington?
Chaos.
You can't explain it away.
You can't. That's just like, it's like, what is it? It's something in the water? Are they all going nuts?
The great 8 Republicans have all had one thing in common. They have a personal dislike of Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, they do.
Something that he did or said that talked them off.
I saw, I don't remember. I'm not even going to try to speculate the source because it was, I read someplace or I heard just a couple of days ago, the reason that, was it Matt Gaetz?
Yeah.
Is so bound and determined to unseat the speaker. The speaker was instrumental in bringing to the light of Gaetz's problem with an underage girl.
Yep.
And he is seeking revenge.
Yep. All of them have their own particular.
Yep. Little thing to axe to grind.
That's right. Exactly.
I'm going to get back at you.
And you know, I made a couple of notes. The biggest thing that the Washington insiders, the talking heads on TV, say, the word they get is the Freedom Caucus said that he committed the cardinal sin. He's talking to and cooperating with Democrats.
Yeah, that's just
to get stuff passed.
Yeah, today any kind of cooperation is a sign of a betrayal.
This is exactly, however, what the American public want. Yep. They want bipartisan government.
Get the damn job done. If we got to compromise something, we'll compromise here. But get the thing done.
Exactly. But these people are haters.
Yep.
And they want a bloodbath.
Yep. Oh yeah, they're not happy unless they're at war with somebody.
And you know, one of the would-be speakers, they caught him this morning on TV, and he looked like an unmade bed. His hair wasn't combed. He had a couple days worth of beard that he hadn't shaved, and he was dressed in a sweatshirt or something.
Like me.
Yeah,
Like me.
Except you look neat. He didn't. You look like God. And they asked him what the devil is going on, and he said, "I was in a caucus with these people." He said, and we had to adjourn the caucus. Because if we hadn't, there would have been physical fistfights.
Yep.
Now, that is what our representative government has come to.
It certainly seems so, Bill.
Yeah.
There's a cartoon in today's Globe, political cartoon, and it's got Putin watching TV, and they got on TV, Gates is screaming at the speaker, and he says, "I knew. I just had to sit back and wait. They'll self-destruct."
Yeah. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand it. I mean, it's hatred.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Matt told me one time, beware of the two extremes. The ones on the Democrat side and the ones on the Republican side, they're crazy.
They are. They are certifiably nuts.
Yep.
I have never seen a group, and I don't mean all of them, I mean that those two extremes will sacrifice the country to get what they want. And it's for their own personal satisfaction. Now, that's terrible. I mean, that's awful.
It is. Look,
We don't need that.
No.
We've got to get these people the hell out of there.
yeah, exactly. I mean, these people are morons.
Yep.
The Freedom Caucus, freedom my foot.
Yep, that's right.
The other thing this morning that I didn't even have time to make notes of. Guess what the Democrats announced?
Oh, God, it's hard to tell.
They're going to build a wall.
Well, that's nice. All right.
Yeah. There's a 20-mile stretch where they're just pouring across.
Yeah.
The Democrats discovered this yesterday or the day before, and they decided that there's a 20-mile section that is really out of control.
I don't know about what you think, but I think that damn wall ought to have been built
Of course it
20
should
years
have been.
ago.
It should have been finished, for heaven's sakes. Americans want that wall.
Absolutely.
AOC and her gang of lunatics
Don't.
have hijacked
That's right.
the Democratic Party, and they are counterbalanced by the Freedom Caucus that is hijacking the Republican Party.
Yep.
There is no moderates.
That's right.
I mean, and yet 61% of Americans, when forced to qualify their political
Yeah.
leanings, say, I'm in the middle.
That's
I
right.
guess what you'd call a moderate. However, interesting, they don't love being called a moderate.
No. they
But
don't. Hopefully they come out of the woodwork, though, when come time for election. Because it's heaven help us if we got to go through 4 more years of either Biden or Trump. God,
the
heaven, we've just
Fox News ran a press conference, one of the first ones of Biden's, and he was asked about the wall. He said there will be no continuations to the wall. There will not be one more piece of the wall built during my administration. And it's taken that knucklehead, and that is kind on my part, how long to realize that the wall was the right thing to do? It took him how long to stand up to AOC?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How can she single-handedly hijack the whole Democratic Party?
I don't know how any individual
Yeah.
like that can both sides bring everything to a halt.
Yeah. I mean, 6 in her gang,
Yeah.
and they are calling the shots.
Yeah.
And Biden does.
I never understood how this, I forgot what his name, Letterman, the guy that's
Fetterman.
the one that's holding up the military,
Tommy Tuberville.
Tuberville.
Yeah.
Yeah. How he has so much power.
He's an ex-football coach.
Yeah, he is.
LSU.
But how he's got so much power to stop everything.
Oh, any senator can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But they don't.
They don't, because they got more smarts than that.
That's right.
Some.
We've just never done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, staying with that,
Yep.
guess what?
What?
The Army-Navy football game.
Oh, jeepers. I saw that last night on the news.
Yeah. Now that's being played at Gillette Stadium
Yes, it
on
is.
December 9th. This was a major coup for Kraft to get the
that.
Army-Navy
Get it out of
game here.
Philadelphia.
And there's thousands of people coming up from
Oh, it's
the Philadelphia area that have gone to the game every single year, and they're coming up. They get tickets and hotel reservations.
Yep.
And the governor, Maura Healey, has canceled the reservations because they are signing a contract.
Oh, she bailed out last night on the news. It wasn't her. It was the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. The hotel has decided to do
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what hotel's going to take a premium rental that they get top dollar for, maybe 2 or 3 times what they usually get, and give a discount to a immigrant family? Baloney.
It is. They insult our intelligence.
That's right.
But you know what? Since a great amount of the people don't even bother to vote,
Yeah.
they're certainly not insulting their intelligence. They just say the hell with it. They don't vote.
That I went to that game back in 60. It must have been 66 or 67.
I went in the game in 61.
61, and I was in intelligence school, and we got tickets through the military, and they came in one day and said, anybody want it going down to Philadelphia for the Army Navy game? I've got, I don't know, 24 tickets or whatever. Does anybody want them? Well, there's only 14 in our class, and 6 of us took the tickets and went down. It was quite a spectacle. It was great. I mean, the game, any football game.
Yeah.
But the spectacle with the cadets, it's unbelievable. The formations and the drilling and the parade thing that they put on and the enthusiasm that they exude, it is like no football game you've ever seen.
Yeah, and you see those young men out there.
Yep.
And you have to say, there's hope for this country yet.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah.
There's an old saying that the only football game that you can ever go to where both teams can read and write is the Army-Navy game.
Well said. And there was actually, there used to be a powerhouse down in Texas, Rice Institute.
Yep.
You had to be brilliant to get into Rice. It was an engineering school.
It was like Northwestern used to be like that.
Yeah.
They never won a game.
Yeah.
But they didn't care. They'd be proud of it. They used to have this chant, ho, 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 hey, 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 you'll work for us one day.
Beautiful. Shoot. Just when you think that the politicians can't top their previous list of blunders,
Oh, my God.
it just keeps on rolling along. So, I do have a couple of names I'd like to talk to you about.
Okay. I didn't do it.
So, I said to myself this morning, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I like that, too. It was spaghetti western, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So, the good on the national scene is Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I guess she would epitomize wholesomeness. We don't know what's behind the curtain.
I'm willing to risk it.
Nobody wants to know.
She is just gorgeous.
Yeah, she is.
And she writes those songs.
Does
Now,
she?
I
don't know anything
can't
about her.
believe that she writes them by herself.
Yeah.
But that's the poop that comes out, is that those are all her creations. Amazing. So she's the good. Maura Healey is the bad.
Yeah.
And Matt Gaetz and the Boston City Council are the ugly.
That's very apropos right there.
Yep. It's like the original Amateur Hour.
Yeah.
You know, now you got the, little enclaves of, what's it, there's 13 people on the city council or something, neighborhoods. And no one, well,
You know, this whole thing with Washington and everything would be humorous to sit back and look, but it's so damn serious.
I know it.
The consequences are so severe.
The mediocre have risen to the top.
Yeah, it's like the Peter principle.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you always said the cream rises to the top. And few folks that wonder about that old saying. When you got milk back in the old days,
Yep.
there was the cream would always rise to the top. So you had to shake it. And so that you
Unless you had some serious coffee drinkers, they'd get it first.
Yeah, right.
They would scoop it off.
Yeah. But now with pasteurization and homogenization,
Yeah.
both,
Yeah.
it's part of the milk now, and the 3% butterfat or whatever it is.
We used to have a machine called a separator on the farm in the old days, and it would separate the milk. The cream would come off one side, and the skim milk would come out of the other side.
And then you had to put some cream back in
If you
to
wanted
meet
to
the minimum.
But you used, in the old days,
content.
you only sold the cream. The skim milk usually went to the animal feed.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want it.
Oh, all right.
But the separator was a machine that had a centrifuge in it.
Yeah.
It would spin real fast. For some reason, I don't know why, this cream would come out of one side.
Yep.
But I was just a little kid then. But I was fascinated how that thing would start whirling in there.
It's good stuff. That's the old days. So, President Biden discovered that the border is out of control.
Gee, what a shock.
And his puppet, Mayorkas, said it's out of control.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So there's a 20-mile section they're going to build. Now, there's about 200 miles that need to be built.
Yeah.
So, gee, do you suppose they'll just continue downstream a ways and then cross?
Do you think? Of course, that's what they're going to do.
So this is for the election only. Look at
All
me.
appearances.
Your hero is at it again.
Yep.
I'm going to solve this stinking question once and for all. The wall. Now, he's going to get blowback in his party that you're not going to believe.
I hope so.
When especially when the Republicans start saying, well, he's going to build Trump's wall for Trump. How about that, huh? And
The only way he could make this into a coup if he gets a check from Mexico for doing it.
Yeah.
You know that's not going to happen.
you know that's not going to happen. By the way, I'm not sure that we ever discussed this. It'd probably be a good time to blunder into it. But so many people, without knowing what they're talking about, think that sending the military into Mexico to these gang encampments
The
is a
cartels
great
don't-
idea. What's your feeling about that?
It could be a good idea if Mexico was in complete cooperation with it.
They're a sovereign nation.
That's right. But if they came to us and said, the cartels, we're out of control, we can't control it anymore. The cartels have taken over, we need help. Then I have no qualms about all about
No.
doing it. But to arbitrarily cross the border and do it, it's too risky. You don't know what the reaction is going to be with the Mexicans. I mean, I don't mean the cartel people. I mean the Mexicans.
Right.
They may not like that, and you may end up in a shooting war with your neighbor.
Yeah. It would be an extremely short war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the 82nd Airborne would clean things up short order.
They have to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, you know,
Yeah.
beating the French, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. But I agree with you. This is, look stupid. Do something, even if it's wrong.
Yeah,
But
worst thing
how
you do
the
is
hell
nothing.
much longer are we going to let our citizens die?
Well, that's right.
But it's got to be a 2 or 3 or 4 prong attack. How much longer are we going to play catch and release with drug dealers?
That's one of the problems.
That is what firing squads were invented for. Drug dealers.
We don't have a stomach for punishment anymore.
That's right.
The whole damn country doesn't.
Yeah. What if you get the wrong guy? What if we catch him red-handed, for God's sakes?
Yeah.
This fentanyl is fatal. He's peddling it, and he doesn't give a damn who uses
He
it.
knows it's fatal when the dealers got putting it in there. They know. They're not stupid.
A movie, not star, but like a second or a bit player. Maybe he was a producer, I don't know. Died of fentanyl. They got his dealer and tried him, arrested him and tried him. He got 10 years in prison. Now, not long enough as far as I'm concerned, but yet hundreds of dealers are caught every day.
That's right.
And unless a famous person has taken the damn stuff and died,
That's a key right there.
that's it.
Yep.
If that guy had been Jack Schmo,
Yep.
who worked at a car wash, nothing would have happened.
A couple of days ago, I think it was a rep, a legislator, got carjacked. It made the news.
Yes.
It made the big news. I said to Monica, I said, it's unfortunate that this happened to him. That's terrifying. But it is fortunate that it was him that got carjacked. People get carjacked every day and people get killed, but you never hear about it. Now, if some of the celebrities or the particular legislators start falling victim, then they'll do something about it.
We need round-the-clock protection.
Yep.
That's what they'll, and
Yep.
the Secret Service will get plenty of overtime.
And we need to stop these punks.
Yeah, but we don't have the will to do it.
We don't.
Because we don't, it's not his fault. His mother was
Society
a single parent, and she had a drug problem, and oh God, he had terrible teachers in school and gangs, and
Million excuses all
Yeah.
the time.
never.
Yep.
You willingly did it. You go to the slammer.
That's right.
And we don't want to do that. It's ridiculous. I got good news for you.
Okay, go ahead.
The McRib is coming
I
back.
saw that. I kind of
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. Coming back for November. Now, McDonald's does this every year. Now, this is probably the last time you will get your chance to get a McRib because we're going to discontinue it. And then the following year, well, due to public demand, this morning one of the wags on talking to Stuart Varney said, do you know why they do it in November? And Stuart goes,
I have
No.
no idea. Why do they?
because the price of pork is high during the summer, during barbecue season. November, barbecue
Makes sense.
season is all over, the prices drop, and McDonald's can buy it cheap.
Yeah, and pork prices are in the hopper anyway now. Yep. That makes sense.
The holy dollar
Yep. Oh, yeah.
speaks loudly. New York City, yesterday, the mayor wants to suspend the right to shelter law.
Well, la-di-da.
Isn't that something? I wonder if Maura Healey is watching him and Mara's going to do the same thing.
She said she better be on his tail doing the same thing.
She, by the way, is
But I don't think
hopeless.
for her.
She's in so far over her head.
Yeah.
She can't make any decisions.
Well, you know what, Bill? I don't think she anticipated the problems that have come up since she's got in office. I think she thought this was going to be a
A walk in the park?
walk in the park. I got to sign a few forms, sign a
Yeah.
few of this, make a little speech or two, then I'll move on to something in Washington, D.C.
Then I'll go to the opening of the new Dwayne Weiss Junior High in Roslindale. I'll, see the kiddies and give
After I get my
cats.
time in, then I'll get some big job in Washington.
That's exactly what she's looking for.
Yeah.
Something in the second administration. And she'll go wall to wall for Biden.
But she didn't expect to run into some real problems.
No, and you know what? It really shows how stupid she is. I mean, did she really think that when she became governor, somehow or other, the drug problem would stop? The crime problem would stop?
Go ahead.
All the other problems we have, traffic in Boston, schools in disrepair.
All of those, I think she said, she knew there were problems. This is why I say, but I'll just skate right across them. It won't. I'll try not to get them any worse, or I don't have any solutions. I'll just skate to the end and then walk away.
Another one that's biting her right in the ass too is the bridge.
Oh,
out to the island. Now, the savior is going to be building that bridge. Okay? Now, 5 years is the time frame to build the bridge.
in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Every single junkie
Yep.
currently living on the streets will be dead of overdoses.
Of course.
Or cirrhosis of the liver, or they'll be in a mental asylum by then.
When the bridge went down or it was no longer safe, what genius couldn't say, let's build a new bridge?
Yep. Exactly.
But this state never anticipates. We're always, we're not proactive, we're reactive. We don't do anything until it's too late.
Push comes to shove.
We're not going to do anything with those 2 Cape bridges until one of them falls down.
That's right. Exactly.
That's right.
And I was going to say that to you. I don't like going across those
I don't either.
bridges. I mean, especially when you see potholes in them.
Yeah, it's right. You look down,
Boy, oh boy, that doesn't look like fun to me.
But we always react in the panic then.
We do. We do. Which brings me to my next subject. And we have just about enough time to cover it. The
Five, Bill.
5, okay.
Yep.
We have witnessed the death of Tim Wakefield,
Yes. And
57 years old of brain cancer. Fine pitcher for the Red Sox. But
a fine man.
A fine man.
Yep.
A wonderful man who has dedicated a lot of his life to the Jimmy Fund. Guys that are blessed with great athletic ability and the ability to make large amounts of money, they stop what they're doing when they're done and go back to their roots and work with people, work with disadvantaged people, the handicapped and all. Are rare indeed. I think there's a lot more of them than we think because a lot of them do not seek out the publicity.
That's right. They stay in the background.
Yeah. So we lost Tim Wakefield. Then the all-world Patriot tight end, Russ Francis, passed away at the age of 70. And also Brooks Robinson.
That's right.
All-star third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. And only when people pass away do we seem to judge them honestly, I guess. But the stories out of Baltimore about Brooks Robinson are just like the ones about Tim Wakefield. That his peers, the guys he played with, to a man, said things like, the finest person I have ever been around in my life. The consummate gentleman. Always thought of others before he thought of himself. And then the Celtics. Well, we didn't lose anyone passing away, but two very popular players have been traded, and that came like a shot out of the blue. Never ever did they think that they would move those two after they had moved Marcus Smart and Grant Williams earlier in the year. So, you settle into things, you never know what's apt to happen. And I always think of the first letter of Paul to the Thessalonians.
True, Bill.
The day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night.
Yep. Oh yeah, you never see it coming.
But so many of us know it's coming.
Yes and no. We never want to admit. Very few of us senior citizens, me included, want to day to day say, the clock is really ticking here, and that's wind-up spring is getting really, really weak. But it's there. Every once in a while I'll say, I don't think I can do that anymore. And I don't think I have time to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's a realization that we don't want to accept.
Yeah.
And I think we go through life with that. If we didn't, we'd be so depressed, I don't think we could hardly function.
My mother died, I should know how old she was, but into her 90s, denying she was ever going to die. She was so afraid of it.
Oh,
You could not speak of it in her presence.
I think my father was like that, and he died young.
Really?
He died in 1980 already. He was only 50-some years old.
My dad died at 56.
Yeah, mine was 50-something, early 50s.
Cancer, just...
Yeah, mine too. Colon cancer.
He was diagnosed in January for Happy New Year's, and died in June.
Yep.
Just
mine diagnosed with colon cancer, and 6-8 months later he was dead.
yeah. Hodgkin's disease.
Yeah, another form.
Yeah. In the last 2 months, he was just comatose.
Okay. Wrap up.
So, friends, think about stuff like that. Think about being kind to your neighbors.
Yeah, it don't hurt to be nice to somebody, and it feels good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. All right. So listen. Now it's time for you to take a break.
Break time.
Hit
Popcorn time.
popcorn time, or Miller High Life time.
There you go.
Jack Daniels time.
There you go.
And then you'll be set for another hour of this. So take a break.